Today's video will be broken down into 3 parts dealing with alcohol and things that can happen when you do drink excessively or even at all. The first part will be drinking and driving, the effects, and just some things that will happen there. Second, we'll talk about effects on drinking as a child, underage, things that can happen there, fines. Third part of the video will just be long-term effects of alcohol and how it is bad for you and can affect your system. So I do hope you find this video informative and that hopefully you do learn a couple things from it, so the next time you do choose to drink, you can learn a couple things off of it. Drinking and driving, the DUIs for Iowa, are just some basic statistics and dealing with the worst part of it, which is fatalities when you do choose to drink and drive. Although Iowa has been getting better with the DUIs, not as many as back in the 1980s, it still is a problem. One is a problem even. So in 1982 there were 480 total fatality crashes in Iowa. 250 of those in 1982 were alcohol related, which is about 52% of them. 219 of those 250 crashes, the blood alcohol level was over 0.08, which is 46%. Now the most recent statistics that they do have out published, in 2008 there were 412 total fatality accidents in the state of Iowa, 113 of those being alcohol related, which is about 27%, so it has gotten better, but 113 is still way too many. Of those 113, 89 did have over a blood alcohol level of over 0.08, which is about 22%. So that is way too many. Just one is too many. Definitely fatalities, you know, that's the extreme of it, but that's the risk you take when you do drink and drive. Alcohol and the fatalities be one of the many bad things, but for you yourself, the person that is convicted of the OWI, DUI, it's just bad news. It will change your life completely. Just a first conviction with the DUI, if you are convicted for the first time, you will be required to serve up to 2 days or almost a year in jail, and you will be required to pay a fine that at minimum will be about $1,000. You will also lose your license for 6 months. That's on the first conviction. Second conviction, if you are do receive that second offense within 12 years of your first one, you will lose your license for 2 years and will be given a 7-day to 2-year sentence and will be fined at least $1,500 all the way upwards of $5,000. Third conviction within a 12-year period is a Class D felony that will earn you up to 5 years in jail and a $2,500 to $7,500 fine, and you will lose your license for 6 years. In addition to spending time behind bars, paying a hefty court fine, and losing your driving privileges, you will also need to complete a course for drinking drivers and undergo a substance abuse evaluation or treatment program, whether this is your third offense or your first. Iowa law does require that you pay for these services at your own expense, and you will also be hit with a $200 fine that goes toward the state's victim restitution fund. If you are caught driving while your license is revoked, you will be charged with another misdemeanor in order to pay a $1,000 fine. This is just one thing financially, especially with the economy being bad. People cannot afford this. So before you do drink and drive, just know that if you do get caught, that wherever you're going, is it worth to spend jail time, lose your license, and just pay those hefty fines? It's definitely not worth it to me, and I don't see anyone that it could be worth it to. You will be required, like I said, to take those classes, go through treatment programs. Probably when you do get your license back, have a breathalyzer for a while. It's just not a good deal. Getting your license back is hard once you've had it. Getting a job it definitely does make that a lot tougher. So just before you do go out and drink and drive, make sure that you do just think in your head, is it worth it? Also, once you do have your license back, you will be required to go on SR22 insurance, which is very expensive. So financially, I just don't see how anyone could be able to pull this off. It will affect your family life, your work life, what you do in your free time, a bad reputation. There's just so many things that with a DUI that will go on your record and just is not good for you. Okay, next I'm going to talk about how underage drinking can affect a child. Some brief statistics for the state of Iowa. For children under the age of 21, there were 13 fatalities, driving fatalities, where the child was under 21, drove drunk, and wrecked and killed themselves or killed someone else. In 2008-2009, in the past month, on a given month, 29.9% of youth had said they had had at least one or more drink in the past month, and that's ages 12 to 20. And binge drinking, which is a large consumption of alcohol at one time or over a period of time, 21.2% of youth has said they had participated in binge drinking. There were DUIs to children under the age of 18. There were 185 in Iowa in 2009. And violation of liquor laws, there were 1,683 tickets in Iowa to those underage. And drunkenness that led to arrests for youth, there were 248 arrests. So there were just some brief statistics on things dealing with the law there. Now I'm going to read from a handout just some things that can affect a child. Persons who first drank alcohol before the age of 15 were more than 5 times as likely to report alcohol dependence or abuse in the past year than were persons that first drank at the age of 21 or older. Specifically, 16% of those who began drinking alcohol before the age of 12 reported alcohol dependence or abuse in the past year, as did 15.5% of those who began drinking ages 12 and 14. In contrast, 2.6% of persons who reported alcohol dependence or abuse started drinking at 21 or older. So there kind of is a big gap there. You see that if you do start drinking underage, you're more likely to continue drinking and have problems later in life than those who start 21 or after. Almost 74% of persons aged 21 or older reported that they started drinking alcohol before the age of 21. Of these, 4% reported first drinking before the age of 12. 14% reported that it was between the ages of 12 and 14, and 33% between ages 15 and 17, while 22% were between the ages of 18 and 20. 64% of 8th graders and 84% of 10th graders believe that alcohol is readily available for them for consumption. So that's bad, and that's not only bad on the child, but it is bad for those buying for those kids that are underage. It is one group effort to try to stop underage drinking, and that not only is the child, but also the people buying and selling it to them. Rates of drinking do differ among racial and ethnic minority groups. Among students in grades 9 through 12, 32% of non-Hispanic white students, 15% of African Americans, and 29% of Hispanics reported binge drinking. A study of 5th through 11th grade students found that those who are exposed to and enjoy alcohol advertisements have more favorable beliefs about drinking and say they are more likely to drink in the future and consume more alcohol. So these are some pretty good facts to look at, maybe for parents to take a look at and not let their child be exposed to those as much as possible. Also, just another thing, I did want to go over some brief fines that children can get. And the big one is the MIP. And I know a lot of alcohol-related tickets for those underage do follow the same price line. First-time offenders with MIP, which is a minor in possession of alcohol, is a $330 ticket. Now that's pretty expensive if you figure in that these children are all underage, usually in high school. And $330, with a part-time job while attending school can be pretty rough to come up with. So the smart decision, along with the many health effects, when you start drinking, that you're more likely to become an alcoholic, which can lead to more serious problems. It's just better to wait till you're 21, if even at all. The last thing I do want to talk about are the long-term effects of alcohol. on a person. I'm going to read some quick facts to start off here. In 2002, about 18 million adults in the United States did meet diagnostic criteria for alcohol disorders. More than one half of American adults have a close family member who is an alcoholic or has abused alcohol in the past, so it does affect quite a large number of people. And also, it does affect worker productivity. In the statistic here, in 1998, the estimated productivity loss for workers with past or current alcoholism was $86.4 billion. That is quite a bit of money, and especially with the economy the way it is now. Also, alcohol is implicated in more than 100,000 deaths annually, so alcohol is killing off people, which definitely is not a good thing. Some of the more severe things you can obtain from drinking alcohol excessively over your lifetime: liver disease, heart disease, cancer, things wrong with your pancreas, just a whole lot of things. Loss of brain cells, epilepsy, nerve damage, irritated stomach lining, and bleeding from stomach ulcers. I don't think these are anything that anyone, when they're younger, says, oh yeah, I want that, I want to grow up and get these. No, no one wants that. So you definitely, before you ever take your first drink, you need to learn facts about these and become educated on what can happen if you do decide to drink and drink heavily. Chances are one of these things could happen to you. And I also do want to take a quick second out just to say how helpful the Rethinking Drinking program has been. Not many people might know about it, but it definitely does cause you to go out and do some research, and I have definitely learned a lot and things that I am going to take into consideration into the future. The best thing to do would just be avoid alcohol completely. And if you are going to drink, you need to drink in moderation, not go out and binge drink and get drunk and just drink excessively, because it can lead to a lot of bad things I have mentioned. And I do hope you have learned some things from this video and have found it informative, and maybe the next time before you go out and drink you'll think, and maybe even if it just stops one person, it's worth it. So I do want to thank you once again for taking the time out to watch this video, and I hope you learned a lot. Thank you.